Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashraf al-anbiya'i wal-mursaleen. Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Okay. Let's get into this expression that's commonly found with those in this particular society that have what we call liberal leanings. That statement, that expression, that phrase being my body, my choice. And this is usually expressed by people that are affected by feminism. And you mostly hear it being used when dealing with the debate about abortions. And so you'll find people saying, or women saying, it's my body, so I have the choice to abort. Now that's as it relates to a specific example. But there's a more general understanding that kind of applies to, that thinking applies to the woman's body in general. My body, my choice. If I choose to have a hot girl summer, it's my body and it's my choice to sleep with whoever I want to sleep with, or whoever I want to sleep with, or how many individuals I want to sleep with, if I'm married or not married, and thus for so on. My body, my choice. You know, so it's a phrase that's used to basically substantiate a woman, or usually used for dealing with women. So it's usually a phrase used to substantiate women doing whatever they want, whatever they choose, however they feel, and thus for so on as it relates to their bodies. It's their body, they can do whatever they want. Now, why is this worth me even talking about, right? Because surprisingly, you'll find some Muslims that have been affected or influenced by liberal ideas actually arguing to substantiate this slogan and what it means and entails. And this is actually sad for one that believes in Allah and the last day. Now there is no doubt this dunya is a test for the human being. And one of the things that the human being has been given with is free will, the right to choose. A person could choose to be upright, or he can choose other than that. But the bottom line is, whatever you choose, whatever path you choose to walk down, there are consequences for your actions. The Muslim should understand this. And so if you choose to act in an upright manner, the consequences will be upright. But if you choose to act in a wicked manner, then the consequences will be in accordance with that which you put forth with your own hands. And so when looking at this particular slogan, my body, my choice, when they make that statement, is there an understanding concerning the choice itself, and if it's considered to be from righteousness or wickedness, or is it just a unrestricted statement that will allow a person to do whatever they want, regardless if what it is that they want to do or they choose to do is pleasing to Allah or not, and will have positive consequences to it or not. And this is why I say that no Muslim should be championing a slogan like this, especially just based off the surface of what the slogan entails. My body, my choice. Your body? Is it really your body? All right? Is it really your body? For the person that believes in Allah in the last day, then that statement is not understood in an unrestricted sense. Now, to bring this argument to, or what I'm basically saying, to bring more clarity to it, I'm going to briefly read the statements of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin from his explanation to Al-Aqidah Al-Wasatiyya, a very beneficial book that I would advise the Muslims, those that have efficient and proficient teachers within their localities, and I would advise that they request from their teachers to go through this book because of that which is found within it of benefit. And this is something that I realized a long time ago when Sheikh Farid Abdullah in LA, the former imam or the former teacher at Masjid al-Mu'min in Los Angeles, when he went through this book. When he went through this book, I realized the tremendous benefits that were found therein. And so one of the things that Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, I'm translating as I read to save time. But Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, he states, if you were to say, how do we bring about a correlation between two statements? The first statement, that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is singled out as relates to ownership and or possession. So that's the first statement. How do we make a correlation between that statement and between the statement and between the affirmation of ownership for created beings? Yani al-makhluqeen, the creation, that the creation has ownership of things. And then of course he brings some verses to show that. So he then states, thus the answer is that the correlation between the two are from two very varied perspectives. Again, Allah has ownership, meaning of the dominion and like this, and then the fact that it is shown in the text that we own things, human beings, the creation own things. So he states, the first is that the possessions or ownership of people for a thing, it is not in a general sense. It is not all inclusive. And that is because the person only owns and or possesses what is under his authority. And he does not own or possess what is under your authority. However, all of these things are the possessions of Allah. And yani in reality, all of these things are the possessions of Allah. And so he states, so from the as it relates from the perspective of all inclusiveness, the ownership of Allah Azza wa Jal is more general and more widespread, and it is a complete ownership. Now keep that in mind, that we own things. I own these books on back of me. But in reality, Allah is really the possessor of everything that is within the creation. He's really the sole possessor of everything that's within the creation. These things are just under my authority. Like these books, or just giving an example, the books, they're under my authority as it relates to my relationship with other human beings. They're under my authority, and that which is under their authority, that which is in the hands of other people, then that would be considered them having ownership of that because it's under their authority. So I just can't come and take their stuff. But in reality, Allah is the one that possesses everything in the dunya. Him being the possessor of everything that's in the dunya is all inclusive, unrestricted, and thus forth and so on. So that's the first point he's making. Then the second point, he states that my ownership of these things, it is not a real and true ownership. And then he explains what he means by that. It's not a true ownership in so much that I am able to dispose of it freely, however I will, in whatever way I want. Right? So he states, I could only dispose of it in a manner in which the legislation has commanded. I can only dispose of what is under my authority from the things that I claim to own in a way that is commanded by the legislation. Right? Now, a person has a person has to be given the ability to choose. You can either choose to do that, or you can choose to not do that. But there's a consequence for this. So he continues. Well, I'm going back into the Arabic. Just as the true owner, meaning Allah, has permitted, meaning me disposing of what's under my authority in the manner in which the legislation has commanded. This is that which the real owner of these things has permitted, has allowed, has commanded, has ordained, has prescribed, and thus forth and so on. And thus forth and so on. So a person, if this is understood, then this can go back to the woman and her body. But before dealing with that, then I want to just give an example. If a person is given money, who's the one that gives the money? Ultimately, it is Allah. Allah is al-Razaq. He is the provider. He is al-Mu'ti. He is the giver. But he may have laid out means in this dunya for a person to obtain that thing. But ultimately, he's the one that gives. Now you have this money under your possession. How do you go about spending that money? Do we come with the mentality, my money, my choice? And so I do whatever I want with the money, regardless if it's pleasing to Allah or displeasing to Allah? No, this is a loser's mentality. This is a person that doesn't understand his place in this dunya and his relationship with the creator of the heavens and the earth. For him to have that type of mentality. Why? Because when it comes to wealth or money, then he has to distribute that money in accordance with that which Allah loves and is pleased with. And he can't distribute it or spend it in other than that way. If he chooses to do it in other than the way that Allah loves and is pleased with, then there is a consequence for that when he meets Allah. A negative consequence, not positive. So he has to spend it in a way that is pleasing to Allah. And that, however Allah would like him to spend that money, it is found within the text from whatever Allah commands with, regardless if the command is from the perspective of obligation or recommendation. That's how he spends his money. And it's this reality that shows us, okay, yeah, you're the owner of this money as it relates to your relationship with other human beings. But ultimately, Allah is the one that possesses this. You can't spend it however you want. If you want to be brought closer to Allah and be in good standing with Allah when you meet Him, then you can't spend it however you want. You have to spend it in accordance with what is pleasing to Him. So now that that's understood, then now we go back to the woman's body, or anybody's body for that matter, man or woman. You can't do what you want with the body that Allah has given you. Allah has not only given us bodies, He's also commanded us how to care for these bodies, for the bodies that's been given to us. Yani, what we should consume or put into our bodies and what is prohibited for us to put into our bodies. And what we can do with our bodies and what we can't do. For instance, we cannot get tattoos. We can't say my body, my choice and go get a tattoo and don't expect that there is a consequence for that when we meet Allah. Why? Because He prohibited us from getting tattoos. And likewise, when it comes to sex outside of marriage and other than that, it's your body, but it's your body in a restricted sense. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in reality is the true owner of this body. And so if a person has this understanding that I can do whatever I want, it's my body, like you created yourself or you created that body, then this is a seed, a foundation for one's own misguidance, a person's own going astray. You can't do whatever you want with your body. You have to do with your body, use your body in a manner that is pleasing to Allah. And you only know that based off the commands that are found within Revelation, regardless if the commands are from the perspective of obligation or recommendation. So when women of this society state my body, my choice, and they have this understanding that was stated in the opening of this particular video, then these are people that have been deceived by the shaitan and deceived by their own self-worth. They see themselves bigger than what they really are, because no one is greater than Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the one that's greater than you. And it is upon you to submit to Him and His commands. Because regardless if you understand it or not, you will return to Him. You will return to Him. And you will be held accountable for what you did with your body. You will be held accountable for that. And whatever you did that was in accordance with that which He loved and is pleased with, the consequences to that would be favorable. But if you did opposite to that, then the consequences for that would be negative. So my body, my choice, la. Our bodies belong to Allah, and we do with our bodies that which is in accordance with what He loves and is pleased with. And I hope that what I stated is clear. So I think sometimes I couldn't be confusing, but I believe what I was saying was clear, or the message that I'm trying to put forth is clear. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala knows best. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.